Welcome to the Straight Talk on Fleet podcast with Erin Gilchrist. Each week, Erin will be breaking down fleet management, trying to cut through the noise and get down to the real issues safety and operations leaders are struggling with every day. The goal will be to get to the bottom of how leaders can break down these silos of information, accelerate change management, how to use real-time, accurate data to drive massive efficiencies across fleet-focused business processes, and to elevate people's careers with emerging best practices. Now it's time for the Straight Talk on Fleet.
It is my privilege to introduce Erin Gilchrist-Rugg, IntelliShip's fleet evangelist. A little bit about Erin for those who don't know her yet. She was the 2019 Fleet Manager of the Year and spent 15 years at Safelite Auto Glass, where she oversaw all aspects of fleet operations. Today, Erin will share with you the challenges of siloed fleet data and the three types of solutions that are available in the marketplace. So Erin, take it away.
Thank you, Chris. This is so fun. Just want to thank you guys in advance for being here. So great. Hello, Fleet community. We're back for another episode of the Straight Talk on Fleet. As Chris mentioned, I'm Erin Gilchrist-Rugg, VP of Fleet Evangelism at IntelliShip. It's a great title, but I get to do things like this and talk to my favorite people, which is fleet people, operations people, safety people. So again, coming to you live today. Thanks for being here and joining in this conversation around important topics for fleet safety and ops leaders. And the hot topic, one of the hot topics for 2023 that I've been hearing is insights. And that ties into what we're going to talk about today. So what does insight mean? I looked up this definition and it plays well with what we're going to talk about today. It's a clear, deep, and sometimes sudden understanding of a complicated problem or situation, or the ability to have such an understanding. So that is absolutely perfect. So in today's episode, we're going to talk about how siloed data and operating in multiple systems will reduce efficiency in your fleet operation and will increase your risk. Why? Well, because we can't easily identify exceptions and glean insights, there's that word, from our data, and exceptions that can hurt us if they're not dealt with in a timely manner, and insights, again, that prevent us from making solid short and long-term decisions. And these decisions can help change the way that we operate and the way that our organizations see us and value us as fleet operations and safety leaders. So I would venture to guess that if you're here today, you're dealing with one or more challenges that are caused by siloed data and operating in multiple systems. So maybe you feel like you're in reactive mode instead of proactive mode. I mean, I've been there, always looking over my shoulder, feeling like I'm waiting for that bomb to drop of the thing that I don't know about or I can't see today. So in fact, we surveyed you as you were registering coming into this, and we asked you, how many different systems you're operating in. And the average number was a little over 3. So not a fun place to be in. And we're gonna talk about this because moving from reactivity to proactivity is freedom, my friends, freedom. So when I was a fleet manager, I organized my team of associates, which was small and lean, and I know you can relate, to attack each of the areas of fleet management. I had an analyst dedicated to making sense of all the data. Well, trying to make sense of all the data. And I even had another analyst inside of FP&A, financial planning and analysis at my company, who was also helping to make sense of all the data that we were bringing in from multiple providers. So we were like salmon swimming upstream and waiting for the bear to devour us. That's that kind of not knowing what was next feeling that I had. And it wasn't for lack of trying. I mean, we partnered with suppliers who had excellent intentions. We were all working together to bring my team's vision to life every day, but we just couldn't get to next. So let's talk about what next is and some of what it's not about, right? So I think starting by saying that focusing on baselines and needed improvements in the areas of safety, efficiency, and cost helps us develop those solid KPIs for managing our fleets. So in episode 14 of my podcast, I outlined 6 key areas and broke down the KPIs inside of each of these areas. So it was, the first one was fleet safety and driver behavior, King, right? Compliance, and that has a couple of different arms. Fuel was number 3, maintenance, fleet cost, and vehicle life cycling. So important stuff. We need to be able to have our finger on the pulse of those indicators in all of those key areas of our fleet. But without a partner and tools to give us visibility into all these KPI focus areas, we find ourselves logging into multiple systems to pull together data from a multitude of sources, trying to make sense of it all, figuring out what stands out, like those exceptions I talked about, what needs addressed right now, what can wait, addressing things in a clunky way, like ultimately not having a source to share these insights and trends with upper management in an easy and visual way, and really even sharing some of those exceptions out with the organization down to people who are managing the drivers directly and helping them easily identify those things that they need to talk with drivers about today, right? So one example that I like to refer to, and I was just talking to one of our prospects on a call yesterday who's looking at IntelliShift for this type of solution. I shared examples of when leaders in my organization would come into my office and they would ask me questions about trending of costs that were going on. Like, why did maintenance go up? Why has fuel gone down? What's happening with this? What's happening with that? And it was typically C-suite people swinging by to ask me hard questions. And I would have to say, okay, we've done this, and this, and here's why I think these trends are happening. But I didn't have that easy way to log into my system and print out a quick visual for them to help them understand that because we implemented the idling policy in January, that we saw this dramatic dip in February in idling, and they started to see it go back up in March. And I wanted to be, I wanted to keep my job, so I didn't do this, but I wanted to be like, well, hey, COO, if you would help me drive this message down, we could take this baseline that we achieved the first month out and continue to achieve on it. And that's what having the right solution to analyze and aggregate data to surface those insights that we need to know about every day can do, right? So let's take that example. Let's dig into what solutions are out there in the market today. So the 3 solutions Chris mentioned I would cover are, the first one is individual point solutions. These are good, right? Because there's many of them. You can pick and choose. They're specialized for specific things. So that's good. But the downsides are siloed data, swivel chair management, which we refer to as, multiple systems, lots of data, lots of logons, more expensive, more contracts and service level agreements that we have to manage as fleet leaders, more logins, more training for our teams. The second solution is lightly integrated, right? Lightly integrated solutions are basically point solutions that resell other tech. Okay, these are good because they may provide you or us with a single sign-on into different software portals. They may integrate with point solutions that you use today. But again, downsides similar, mostly siloed data, tacked on. The provider doesn't own the technology. It gives us limited control over our own customer experience. And when we voice our visions, it's hard for that type of provider to bring those to life because it's not a holistic solution. So they're not presenting holistic and actionable data. And then we're still doing more work to make sense of everything. So then the third solution is a single connected platform. And by the way, with this type of solution, you are thinking about the now, like I talked about, exception management and day-to-day management of your fleet. The next, what's coming down the pike, what trends can you see and what can you do about it? And then the future, really, how will you set yourself up to win for the things that you're seeing today? So, the only real reason not to do this is, it can be hard, right? And we'll talk about that in a minute. Maybe your business isn't willing or ready to allow you as the fleet safety and operations leader to shift the way that you manage your fleet tech stack. That's a problem, but you have the power to overcome that. We have the power to overcome that. And we'll talk more about that too. So what are some of the positives about this single connected platform? One, reduce time and effort, pulling together data from multiple solutions, better customer experience, working through a single vendor in a single pane of glass where you can see what you need to know every day. You buy what you need, you get what you pay for, stacked ROI, guaranteed ROI, right? Again, the goal here is with a system like this is power and ease of use. So I define power as this ability to integrate large sets of data from multiple sources and processing that data for our desired outcomes and unique to our business's specific needs, specific goals, right? We all have different goals and needs, and improving all aspects of our fleet operations from a single place, right? Having the visibility to do that. And then the ease of use part is how digestible and usable the data is, the accessibility of the data, relevant data for your entire organization. I love the word relevant data because that's those insights that I talked about, and that's customized by user or rule. So if you want to have an executive in your system, someone who's a safety leader, somebody in risk or enterprise safety and health, you have users who are managing drivers, this power and ease of use provides you with a place where each of those people can go and see what's important to them. And then you, as the fleet leader, can see things like dashboards with drill down capabilities. So let's stop for a minute. I want to talk about what this might look like. So, you're in this Zen place. What should you expect and what should you be able to see? So dashboards with drill down and export capabilities, each with its own set of exceptions. So you can see things in real time. You can tell someone and get those things corrected. So again, that's that instant risk reduction in your fleet every single day. With smart search to make it easy for you to find assets, drivers, equipment, trends, reporting, etc., analytics for whatever time frame in what area of the operation that you're interested in, down to the driver and asset level. Think about fleet performance, fleet operations dashboards, safety, maintenance, fuel, compliance, analytics, reports, asset management, right? In one place. So, I think of the fleet performance dashboard as something that shows, fleet costs and metrics in each area that I talked about before, those 6 key areas. You may have more, or you might break those out differently. Performance to KPIs, performance to budget. So performance against your company's unique goals and visions. And then like the fleet leader operations dashboard, that is exception management in real time. And this I describe as this sort of like rise and shine, happy place to see viruses before they spread, to prevent an accident before it happens, or a blown engine before it happens, grounding a productive asset that you need, preventing that from happening, right? This is keep your finger on the pulse place to go. So that's how I describe it. Rise and shine, happy place, finger on the pulse every day to managing your fleet safely and efficiently. So again, the overall goal here is to eliminate this swivel chair fleet management, move to a single, connected, integrated, powerful, and easy to use platform. So not only will it make your job easier and the job easier for your team, so you can focus on next, it will help you drive and manage the safest and most efficient fleet, and ultimately elevate you in your career. So there's lots more to be said about how something like this helps to elevate us as leaders. And I do have a couple of different podcasts that you can watch that really focuses in on, switching tools and tech and things like that. And we'll talk about that in a minute. but we really can elevate our careers by being able to produce the right information at the right time for the right people and tell our story and get things done, right? Get things done. So before we go into Q&A, a couple of examples. So I'm a fleet and operations leader or a safety leader, and our team is using a telematics provider today. And our safety team is using a separate in-vehicle video solution provider that was recommended by our telematics provider or our FMC. We have to log into another system to see videos. We don't have the ability to leverage data from both of their systems in one fleet and safety scorecard that includes data from the telematics system and from the in-cab video solution. Okay, that's a great example that I've heard fleet managers talk about and that I've experienced in my career, and a single connected platform is a way to solve for that. Another example, okay, so today I have 4 contracts that are different and different vendors for our fleet technology needs that include GPS and telematics for my on-road fleet, GPS and telematics for our heavy equipment in our trailers, digital inspection and maintenance solution over here, a separate dash cam solution for our high mileage foreman vehicles. All of these products offer APIs to integrate, but we don't have IT resources internally that can assist with all this API integration. So I have this desire to migrate into an all-in-one platform, but I don't want to disrupt my operation. So that's another very real life scenario that I hear about all the time in the fleet community. First off, I would say there's that fear of switching tech and tech providers. So listen to episode 11, and one of my teammates will put the link in the chat to this episode, but I talk specifically on wrapping our heads around how to go about switching tech and tech providers, and more so understanding the pain of staying with a subpar provider. Okay, so, I think listen to that, and I definitely go deep on how to make something like that happen. So thank you for listening to my keynote. I hope it was helpful. I can't wait to dig in with you guys a little bit more. But again, those examples are just ways for us to start thinking about, hey, is this happening to me? And what can I do about it?
All right. Well, thank you so much, Erin. But Erin, I did have one follow-up question on that note around, how have you seen migrations like the one that you just described done before? And I guess the real trick is without causing business disruption.
I mean, I think one of my biggest fears in my experience was, how do I introduce new tools and technology and change management and new processes without impacting my business? Well, I mean, short answer is you got to disrupt things. And that's what we're talking about today. Disruption is key. We have to be disruptors. Listen to podcast number 5 on project and change management. I really dig deep on the how to go about initiating change in your business. But on the specific API example that I gave, where, hey, I don't have IT resources, there's all these APIs to integrate, I would invite you to, call me. I can help you with that. There are providers that do all-in-one platforms, right? We exist, okay? It's about getting into contact with these providers, getting into an agreement where you can share data. Make sure that they can show you what they can do. Give them data sets, allow them to enter into a beta with you and show you what they can do with your data, your specific needs. Don't take anybody's word for it, okay? Make sure that the provider or providers that you're thinking about can put their money where their mouth is. Take in and ingest some data, digest some data of yours in all the areas of your fleet, and show you how they can surface the type of insights that you need to do a better job every day with managing safety and efficiency in your fleet. So again, I don't take on new tools and tech without piloting them. So the short answer is you can do these things in a beta environment. demonstrate what's going to happen and what it's going to look like before you flip a switch. You can share those data sets, get everything set up, and then make the move. All the while you're operating, not disrupting your business, attending to your drivers, attending to your team, attending to your C-suite and everybody else who comes knocking on your door every day. So it can be done.